This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
This is Financial Insanity, the show where we break down the crazy world of finance into simple, relatable terms. I'm your host, Alex Dingman, alongside, as always, Scott McLean, financial advisor with McLean Advisory Group, right here in Weirtown in Ocean County, New Jersey. And Scott's the man with the plan to keep your money safe from the traps and pitfalls of financial planning. And we're going to go through today Scott's book, the introduction and chapter 1. But it's good to see you, Scott.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate your idea of maybe sharing what's in the book because people don't like reading. So I figure if I can entice them to learn, I think that's the whole reason. So I am making finance a little bit less insane.
Yes.
It's out of control.
We will do our best. And if you have any questions, if you would like to ask about getting a copy of that book, Three Blind Mice, the number 609-488-4646. That is 609-488-4646. And Scott, first off, very simply, why the name Three Blind Mice? We talking about a financial fairy tale here, Scott?
I wanted to pull it in because, people remember the story of the three blind mice, and it represents pretty much traditional financial advisors who, despite of good intentions, often lead clients into a financial trap. And by the way, our audience, you may be in that trap, which is why I wrote the book. It's due to outdated methods and lack of collaboration. Collaboration meaning working with the accountant and the lawyer. And then when you do the beneficiaries, the titling of assets, they're completely clueless. And I can tell you, this is a trap that's been set. And many people listening right now, Alex, they don't even know it.
Yeah. And so Three Blind Mice, not just a catchy title, also a metaphor for financial traps that we need to avoid. Scott, let's talk about the introduction. Can you give us a little taste of what the intro is all about there in your book?
Money really isn't everything. It's right up there with the essentials of life with breathing. I remember people at church, Scott, money isn't everything. Well, it is right up there again with breathing. And when you pay attention to it, the decisions people make and the myths, the misconceptions, the downright bad advice, no matter what goes on, we need to pay attention. And again, the introduction really starts off about the financial literacy. People are not literate. There's no really classes out there from kindergarten up to high school. And so the idea is the traps that you've learned, people have learned today, and the kids are not even getting that now. You know what? The trap has been set, and therefore there could be evaporation of money. And I can tell you, this is a problem, Alex.
Yeah. And you talked about they're discussing some common mistakes, and there's some interesting phrases in the book that many of us might recognize. And so I want to see if people have heard this before, and then I want you to discuss why these phrases are indeed traps. So here's something you hear. Spend it. I'm only young once.
Boy.
Another one. It's only 0% interest. Or my favorite, I work hard and deserve it. How are these possible traps, Scott?
They're real. And they trying to justify their poor financial decisions. I deserve it. You know what? Go spend it $500 a month on that new car. But when you look at the budget, can they afford it? And all of a sudden, 2-3 years goes down the line. They bought a car for $10,000, or let's say $15,000 is a live example. And after interest and payments, they end up paying $30,000. So they use the example, well, I deserve it. I work hard. I get it. And this really is a trap. They've been trained either by their parents, grandparents, or perhaps no parents, or didn't listen to their parents. And I've noticed this, and of course it carries on. And I'm an old bat right now. I guess I'm 65 now, and I can hear my dad's voice talking about money all the time, of being frugal, watch your money, and treat people exceptionally well so they listen to you. And this is the traps where I put throughout the book.
Yeah, and Scott, I want you to maybe illustrate one of these traps that we just mentioned, and after you do that, if you could, roll that into giving out that phone number for people if they have any questions about any of these traps we're discussing.
The traps you think about, number one is, where do I invest the money? I look about the areas of money. So you're taking money out, but did you pay attention to the taxes? How about the potential growth? You bought a nice stock, like we hear these AI stocks are taking off like a rabbit. And of course, you buy them, you sell them, and now we have a tax situation. Did the planner or the advisor look at the taxes along with the investments? You look at it, it's like planning a road trip, and you're just looking at it, but you're really not checking the fuel gauge. And this is where people get stranded, ending up in the wrong portfolio, the wrong advice, or perhaps maybe everybody wants growth. No one wants shrinkage. So where do you invest money? And again, that's the biggest problem. People are so attuned to looking at the right-hand side of their portfolio, the bottom right, which is, how much did I have? How much did I have last year? Well, how much growth did I have? They forget to look at, well, did I get dividends? Did I get more shares of stock? Am I taking too much money out? If you're asking yourself these questions, this is why people really should pay attention for a second advice or a review. Maybe your portfolio isn't up to snuff. Whether you're going through different times of the season, winter, snow, the heat, maybe it's elections, maybe it's the children got sick. They're not looking at the big picture. And this is the challenge, what I talk about when I wrote the book, The Three Blind Mice, how your financial planning process leads your money to a financial trap. Well, this is the problem. And if you have questions, please feel free to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646. I'd love to empower our listeners to have the ability to give us a call off the air. No time, no expense. No, we're not going to bill you. Let's just have a 10, 15-minute discussion to see if you are in the right place, or maybe you've outgrown your financial advisor. Maybe you grew your money into retirement, but now you've failed to make that most obvious shift from the growth area to the income area so you won't outlive your money. And that's important, Alex.
It absolutely is. And as we're discussing today, the introduction and chapter 1 of Scott's book, Three Blind Mice, on the show today, Financial Insanity. And Scott, I want you to discuss something you referenced, and that's the rat race. So you referenced that here early on. What are we talking about? What's the rat race you're referencing?
I think we're all in a rat race. I mean, when you're losing weight, the rat race is, I want to have that ice cream and cake, but I know I'm trying to lose weight. And so you get caught in that rat race. In the financial world, this endless cycle of working hard, trying to make ends meet, never feeling like you're getting ahead. And just like the nursery rhyme, many people are blindfolded to the outdated financial advice and running around in circles. And I think this is so important. As you said, the metaphor, Alex, is so important because it could turn into a tremendous, tremendous problem in their portfolio. So again, when you think about it, if you're out there, this might be me. You're thinking to yourself, 609-488-4646. I don't know if I gave that number out before. I want people to feel empowered that they can call, not feel like they're going to be sold, 609-488-4646, because you yourself could be in that cycle or the rat race, hearing the same old thing, because your advisor, probably good-looking gentleman or good-looking woman, and you've been with them for years, but you failed to ask the right questions, or they don't bring it up when you do your reviews. This is insane.
Absolutely. And Scott, something else insane too is just to turn your back on some things that really are important when it comes to your financial picture. And there could be what you reference as the great disconnect with folks and their finances. If you would, in the book here, you talk about an 11-year-old boy named Charlie. Can you tell us a little bit about that story and how maybe there was some disconnection with this person and their money?
You know, Charlie was a hardworking young man, 11 years old. And, of course, his parents made him do work, mow the lawns, do the odd job, save your money. He went to the county fair, had $100 in his pocket, and he was so excited to go there. By the way, you might think it might be me. It could have been me, by the way. And you go to the fair and you go there and your friends got their money and you've got your hard-earned money. Like those going into retirement, your hard-earned money. And after going on a fancy rides, found out there was $20 gone. Now, if we quit it to numbers, that's 20%. You know what? He wanted to go on more rides. He wanted to enjoy the ride, but he didn't have enough money. He put his hand in his pocket and found out, wow, I don't have enough money. And this story came up when I was thinking about my own life and lives of clients I meet. When the market takes a left hook, you put your hand in the wallet or you look at your statement and saying, will my money last? Will my life last longer than my money? The fear of death is no longer number one. It's the fear of running out of money. And that seems to be the process when I wrote the book, The Three Blind Mice, because you're not looking at the whole thing. It's almost like putting your head in the ground like an ostrich at the zoo. But what are they doing? Well, their vitals are exposed to all the whims and traps of the financial world. This is important, Alex.
It absolutely is. As we're discussing today, Scott's book, Three Blind Mice, How Today's Financial Planning Process Leads Your Money to a Mousetrap. If you have any questions, if you want to ask about how to get a free copy of the book, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Just a couple minutes left here, Scott. One of the key issues you highlight here early on in the book, the importance of understanding your overall financial picture. Explain why that is just so crucial.
When you invest money, it depends on your risk and how much you can risk. Everybody loves growth. Everybody's watching the AI stocks or the growth stocks, and they see it and they feel, they call it the fear of missing out. And they forget, what if the market turns back? What if I fear missing out? I put my money in like 1928. People put their money in, and then they're devastated by 1932, 33 when the market dropped. This is a common mistake of fear of missing out. And the trap has been set. Do you have too much stocks? Maybe too much bonds, or maybe not enough bonds. When interest rates are high, it's time to cash in, go into bonds. When interest rates start to come down, you could win. So again, depending on the climate of the market, and these are common traps that are there every single time because everybody wants to sell the hype and the excitement. Everybody wants to sell the newest fad. The question is, let's stay consistent. And when people call us, Alex, the most important thing is they need to understand, what's your biggest concern? Let's talk about that. And if you have that on your mind right there, right now, feel free to give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Love to try to help you, not sell you, educate you.
More financial insanity with Scott McLean on the way.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
And when you pay down debt, you don't pay down the highest interest rate. The biggest mistake is you pay the highest interest rate card when you should do the snowball effect of paying down debt.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Do you know how much income you'll need in retirement? There isn't one number that's right for everyone. Income needs in retirement are unique to each person or couple, And there are some questions, though, that can help you plan for retirement. We're going to go through those today. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman alongside advisor Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. And Scott, we got 6 questions to go through, so let's just jump into it, my friend. The first essential question to ask as you're looking to think, how much income am I going to need in retirement? The first question, well, what are you spending right now? We got to know what that answer is, right, Scott?
It's amazing. I just had a meeting with a lovely couple, and we're doing their planning. And the wife, she does the books, and the husband came in for the first time. I met her a couple times, and I said, look, for us to move forward, I've got to speak to your husband. I love meeting with spouses because I got to make sure we're all on the same page. And I said, by the way, what are you spending right now? Same question you just asked. What is your monthly outflow? What are you getting on your checkbook? What are you actually getting on income? What are you spending? And she looked at me because I caught her off guard. She goes, wow, you're catching me off guard. I said, yeah, but this number should be in the back of your mind somewhere because you guys are about to retire and you both have juicy pensions. My question when I see you guys or see people, Alex, is how much are you spending right now? And she goes, started adding up line by line by line what she's spending. The challenge is when she's spending that much money, when they spend that much money, what does your retirement look like is the question I ask. In other words, are we going on a trip? Are we traveling by plane, train, boat? Maybe you have an RV. We have to calculate those numbers. But the first number, what are we spending right now before we retire? And as we're in retirement, the question is, will that number stay the same? When will the mortgage be off? So Alex, this is a very critical number. And she said, Scott, I really don't know. I said, before we do anything, before we move any money around, before we move anything, your investments and your choices, I like to know this first to find out, do we have enough emergency fund? Do we have enough income? And if your lights go dim, you go in the nursing home, what's our backup plan? And this is important. What are we spending now? Good way to start that, Alex, because a lot of people don't know that number. You should have that number in your mind.
Yep.
And the goal is to beat it. Can I save money or do I need more money?
Yep. Much like, you go to the doctor to face reality when it comes to your health, it's much like needing to go to an advisor to really get a reality check when it comes to your finances. And so this is where you just got to be real, you got to be honest, and Scott can have this conversation as we're going over the essential questions to ask when determining how much income a person's going to need in retirement. And the second question here, Scott, is how will your spending change in retirement? For instance, do you dream of traveling, plan to move out of the state? There's a lot of different things you could spend money on, obviously.
It's a lot of things
I can think of a few.
Yeah, you might be eating out more money. And, of course, we have inflation that'll evaporate your wallet quickly. Maybe your dreams and goals of traveling. What kind of, like I just said, maybe you have an RV. Do we figure out the cost of gas? Could it be going up? Maybe you're thinking about moving or selling a house. These are critical questions. We just spoke to a person last week. They have two beautiful properties, one here in New Jersey and one in Pennsylvania, the beautiful Poconos. They have a nice capital gain of around $200,000 capital gain. And if they sold it, which they were thinking about, I said, well, did you plan on the taxes on the capital gain? And they said, well, no, we're going to pay taxes. I said, yeah, let's just figure this out. We kind of figured out. But if they put the money into a specialized REIT, real estate investment trust, and you have A, liquidity so you can pull out the principal, but B, pay no taxes, well, you should have seen their eyes light up. These are some strategies that are out there. Now, if you're going to start to travel and what does your retirement look like? How much you think you're going to spend? Again, it's a guesstimate. But in the early years of retirement, Alex, it's called the go-go years. Maybe in the first 10 years, you're really going to be blowing and going. You're going to have some fun. And I can tell you, you're going to spend more money than you thought. But keeping your eye on that budget. No one likes the cuss word, the B cuss word budget. But if we're keeping our eye on the cuss word budget, we know what we're spending, which is the first question you asked. We know what we need to stay around. This could help you. Or maybe some of you are thinking, well, if my mom and dad pass away, I have extra money. Well, don't look at them as your sugar daddy, even though they might be. But again, this could be put in your plan. But again, you don't want to bank on it. And everybody says that. But, sometimes people say one thing, but in their heart, they're thinking another. Let's talk about spending. How much are we going to spend? What is our retirement? Can we really live the go-go years, Lord willing, healthy, enjoyable, or am I going to scrimp and save and stay at home and watch TV, watch Bob Barker? I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. This is Financial Insanity. It's out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. And the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Asking the essential questions today when determining if you're going to have enough income in retirement. That was a great point about, things are going to be getting more expensive in the future. You do have to account for that always. But a third question to ask here, Scott, family issues affecting your spending. A lot of different possibilities here, but a lot of things, good and bad, can happen with family when it comes to your money.
Let's talk about those lovely parents who have special needs kids. This could affect your spending. This could affect the quality of life. This could affect, are you bringing your son or your daughter on the trip with you? So we hope you can. This is a very touchy point, but it's a point people need to be aware of. What is that cost going to be? Because you want to enjoy your family as best as possible. Do we have someone take care of them as my wife and I or my husband and I go out? My partner and I go out and travel. Who can take care of my children in that area? Or let's not only talk about children, Alex, but about those of you that are actually taking care of your mom and dad.
Yep.
Or a dog or a cat. And that is part of your spending. These little things do add up. How will that affect your spending habits? And of course, can you bring them with you? Can't you bring them with you? Or is it possible or impossible?
Mm-hmm.
Spending. When you think about spending on top of that, Alex, in the first years, you got the go-go years. Do we have enough money to keep lasting? Will it last a long time? I'd like people remember the rule of four. The rule of four. We'll go over that in a minute, Alex, I think. But the rule of four is simply take a certain amount of money and do I need an extra, let's say, $1,000 a month? If you want an extra $1,000 a month with the rule of four, 1,000 times 12 obviously is $12,000. The rule of four is if I have money in a 4% account, well, that means you have $300,000 if you're just living on the interest. So we spoke about this early in this segment. Do I need to reallocate my portfolio for income, not growth, for income? So on the first of the month, I know there's going to be a check in the checkbook. I know the money is going to show up in the mailbox or in my checkbook, I should say, and I know it's going to be there. So the rule of four would be a basic thing, even though interest rates are very yummy right now. But I can tell you, if you listen to our last segment, if you those lucky enough to listen to our last segment, if you didn't, you can go online and listen to it, of other different areas to get money at a nice 4 or 5% nice savings account. So again, how are we spending money? Where are we spending on it? What's the left hook? Another area of family, Alex, I forgot to bring up was your children. Some of you out there may have a child that keeps asking for money.
What?
And
that never happens.
Hey, Dad, Mom, I'm a little bit lean on my mortgage. Can you help me? Well, I'm not going to tell you to help them or not help them, but this affects. Mm-hmm. Hey, Mom and Dad, my son needs, your grandson that's a great ball player. He needs new shoes and a baseball bat. I was talking to my daughter. These stinking bats cost like $400, these fancy bats for these little rat kids. I'm like, holy crap. Yeah. I used a wooden bat. Now they got these fancy bats.
Oh, don't go back in my day on them, Scott. Come on. Don't go there.
So we kids can actually use their beautiful little eyes and start to pull money out of your wallet. Are you subject? Are you enabling them or disabling them? Remember, this retirement is your retirement. This is the go-go years. The first 10 years of retirement usually is the go-go years.
Yep.
Then you go into the slow-go years. You're not pulling out as much, but again, do you have enough nerve to say to the kids, no, this is for mom and I, or my partner and I, my beautiful lady friend, my boyfriend, whatever. Is this enough? And I can't keep helping you out here. The cuss word is 2 letters. It's no. But I know a lot of people have a hard time. By the way, I have a hard time. I love helping my kids if I can help them.
Sure.
But if I know they're doing the wrong with the money, they're not getting a daggone penny. So again, know how to say no. You got a lot of people with big hearts out there that are willing to give up money.
Yep.
At them. This is a tragedy.
And it's one of those things, too. We can ask all the questions, but one of the points is that there's going to be things that you cannot predict that happen in retirement. And so you have to have money set aside. As we talk about family, maybe your son or daughter goes through a divorce, and that leaves them in a different financial situation. And now you're kind of stepping in to maybe let a son or daughter live with you, or maybe you're helping them with rent or with needs for children, or, there's so many unpredictable things. So I think that's just a good point, Scott, is that we can ask all these questions, which we need to ask, and we're going to go over them today. But there's also just those things that you cannot predict. And so you have to try to protect yourself with that kind of stuff as well. And Scott, we just have a couple minutes left here of this segment, but I think just drive the point home that you also know what questions there are to ask of someone that maybe people don't even know when they're thinking about figuring out how much income they're going to need in retirement. You know what to ask.
Alex, when I look at the 3D approach, the dollars, how much they have, the dreams, the desires, and the legacy, by looking at the tax return along with the estate planning, and then finding out where you want to go. What does your retirement look like to you? How do you want it? I really want a wonderful retirement. I want to really enjoy life. How does that set up? And these are questions that need to be asked, not once, Alex, but probably several times throughout 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe every year you review these questions and you change the game plan if you have to. Because if you don't change the game plan, you find out you're burning more cash. As I spoke to a woman just yesterday, she's helping the kids out to start their own store. I said, you need to stop this or you're going to be out of money. And remember, he said, you don't want to be the cat woman eating cat food? This could be you. Call my office, 609-488-4646. Scott McLean, I will help you. I'll guide you. No cost, no obligation. 609-488-4646. I'd love to help you.
3 more questions to ask when figuring out if you'll have enough income in retirement. On the other side, this is Financial Insanity.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment. The egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
We are asking some essential questions today to help you determine how much income you're going to need in retirement. Last segment, we asked, how much are you spending right now? How will your spending change in retirement? And how will family issues affect your spending? Scott, the 4th question today, will your taxes be higher or lower in retirement? I think I know the answer.
Well, it's not a set answer. I would think everybody think would be lower. You're correct, Alex. But let's assume you're a teacher and your spouse is medical, and you have a 401k and a 403b, you have a pension, and so you do a rollover. You roll over your money. Government allows you to move your money out of the company's plan, and because you'll do that wonderful rollover, wonderful, we've protected that money, and you're not 73 for the requirement of distribution. Usually when you retire, it's lower, but if you're, let's say your spouse is getting $5,000 a month in pension and you're getting $5,000 a month in pension, well, that's all ordinary income. It could be higher than what you thought because you thought it would go down. Then you turn on Social Security, maybe too early. Maybe you should take money from a non-qualified account, let's say a checking account, savings account, money market account, a CD. Maybe you should take it from other different accounts than an IRA account. Why? Because the higher the marginal tax bracket is, the more you're going to have to pay at tax time. So you thought, no, I wasn't going to that much money in tax. You find out, wow, went from 15% to 13, not a very big savings. So again, this is why the advisor that you're working with needs to look at the tax returns on a yearly basis to see how has your circumstance changed. Now, in retrospect, if you're living on Social Security and you're pulling a little bit of money out of your accounts, your IRA accounts, frankly, you could have a tax-free tax return, and now you're paying zero in tax. And for those people that actually invested money into some unique insurance type of products that you can pull out money tax-free and still have the estate if you pass away, you may have a tax-free retirement. On top of planning session says maybe you've been putting away money into a Roth IRA. Now you're pulling money out of the Roth IRA. You're pulling out of the money out of the non-qualified money. You're pulling out of money from Social Security, and then you turn on your pension, or you don't. Again, looking at that tax return could be, hopefully you're living at a lower taxable income, but the marginal tax bracket, and as the advisor looks at the tax returns on an annual basis, which is why our firm started the tax practice in 2008, Alex. We actually do taxes for our financial clients. We charge them a lot of money. It's $125, Alex, for a full tax return, unless they have some other fancy stuff like the real estate and stuff. But basically, the tax return is $125 because I want to know, they don't have to do tax with us, what's going on. It gives us heads up, hey, something changed. But another thing that can change for those of you out there, what if someone dies and you inherit money? And now you have to pull out money from the inheritable money. And the new law says, 2020, you got to take it out within a 10-year period. It's called a stretch. You can stretch it over the 10 years. Take it all out now. Take a little bit out. Should you convert it to a Roth? And these are great questions. Again, someone dies. When we get these questions all the time, Alex, when people call us at our studios, and they say, well, Scott, I just lost my mom and she passed away. I received her an inheritance and a lot of it's IRA money. How do we handle it? Please come in. Give us a call at our studios, because taking too much out could really affect a no taxable retirement to a huge taxable retirement. And this is why you need to really analyze and kind of really view each person individually. This is not a cookie cutter deal, Alex. This is not so yes, in the beginning, should your tax be low retirement? Yes, we all think that, but don't think too deeply. You need to really dive into the depths of how you're pulling money out, where you're pulling money out. And then, just for those of you out there, could you have phantom tax? Phantom tax is an unknown tax. So when the stock market drops and you have non-qualified money in the stock market, let's say you have mutual funds in Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, maybe you have Scudder, and they make a profit within the stock market portfolio that dropped, you could pay tax on long-term capital gains. You scratch your head, how could I pay tax when my account went down 30%? Well, that's called phantom tax. So this is why it's really important as you do your 3D approach to planning. You look at the dollars, the dreams, And then of course, your dynasty, how does it pass on so the kids don't get whacked as much in taxes? This is important, Alex. This is a lost art in our field.
Yes, 609-488-4646 is that number. We have one final question. So to recap, as we're going through the essential questions to ask when determining how much income you're going to need in retirement, we have 6 of them. The first one, how much are you spending right now? The second question is, how will your spending change in retirement? Third question, will family issues affect your spending? Then we asked, will your taxes be higher or lower in retirement? How could inflation impact your assets? And the final question today, and we all know the answer to this one, and I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek, how long will you live? But we do have to consider this, Scott. People are living longer.
You know, that's between you and the Lord. The Lord we all have a clock. I don't know what my clock says, but if I look at my mom and dad, Daddy died at 74. Mama died at 75. My clock, if I go by them, is longer. Then I look at grandma and grandpa's clock, and they lived to 84 and 86. I hope I have their clock. We don't know. But will your money outlive you, or will you outlive your money? And this determines on all those wonderful questions you asked, Alex, because it leads into, how do I plan for my retirement so I have a steady stream of income? Inflation, not inflation, a low rate of return, stock market collapse, we go to a war. There is lots of questions. And in your final questions, we talk about how much income you need in retirement. And how long will you live? Well, how much need for income retirement? That goes to your budget, is the first phase. Then it goes to your dreams. How do you want to travel the next 10 years, or what do you want to do? What kind of fun do you want to do? Maybe you want to stay around the house, put a wedding on for your son or your daughter. Maybe you take care of your special needs child and have a wonderful life and spend time with them. Or maybe your husband or wife, lights are going dim. How do we enjoy this process the best way possible? But we think about all of these areas. How much income is needed? This is a great, great formula, the rule of 4. And then, of course, it goes on the rule of 4. If you don't know the rule of 4, give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Let me guide you the rule of 4 and how it fits into your portfolio. But then how long do you plan on living? Well, I don't know that answer. I'm not the maker and the creator. I do believe in the maker and creator. The question is, I didn't make or create you, so I don't know. But what I do know is, do we have enough so we don't outlive our retirement? As that one woman I spoke to, she doesn't want to live on cat food, although it may be more nutritious. I don't know. But
well,
the
kind of pet food they make nowadays, it's hard to distinguish anymore what's human and what's...
Yeah. I agree.
It's wild.
That's you out there. You know what? These questions we brought in today are real. I hear them often, and it's so normal to get these questions, but everybody isn't the same. This is not cookie cutter solutions for anybody I meet. Each person is so individual. Perhaps you're going through a divorce, game plan change. Perhaps your spouse or your partner died, game plan change. Maybe they chose the pension option. Option means if you die, the pension goes away. Game plan change. Wouldn't that be better to know that now than later? Wouldn't that be know that if you have a good long lifeline, like some of my friends, their parents died at 75, like me, or those of you who are really blessed, their parents died at 90 or 100. You know what? This is a good indicator how you should really plan. It's not the all set it and forget it, but this is what you discuss every year. And this is why we talk to people about their dreams, their dollars, and their dynasty, on how it fits within the taxes, the legacy, your will, power of attorney, living will. Should you hide your assets into a trust? Again, what is the impact on your retirement? What's the impact on the money that you leave behind, and how they be taxed? This is important, Alex. That's why you talk about the 3D planning.
Yep. I love it. Yep. Again, that number, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. You are listening to Financial Insanity, out of the box thinking for your financial sanity. More with Scott coming up.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
Oh, that's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
Time now to reach into the Financial Insanity mailbag and answer some of the questions that our fine listeners have sent in. And remember, you can always give us a call if you have a question, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. I'm Alex Dingman. That is Scott McLean, founder of McLean Advisory Group in Waretown. And our first question actually comes from Tuckerton. So this is William and Sarah.
Hey, William. Hey, Sarah.
Yes.
I hope you're listening.
Yes, and thank you so much for sending this in. But the question, I'm worried about being able to afford a nursing home one day. What are some of the options for handling those types of expenses? What say you, Scott?
Number one, I'd like to have a look into what's called an irrevocable trust to protect your assets for your children. This is a quick answer without all the details. So you might want to think about an irrevocable trust to protect your assets so it can pass on to any heirs. Number two, the other option is, were either one of you a veteran? If you were a veteran, this could be a great way. By using the irrevocable trust and by using it, you could perhaps have nursing home for free in the state of New Jersey, and great for if you're a veteran, or maybe if those people listening, their parents are veterans. In Vineland, New Jersey is a beautiful place, as well as two other places in New Jersey. I'm just using down here at Jersey Shore. Number three, the other options of handling those expenses is, where do you pull money from based on the tax rules? And based on the tax rules, William, I can tell you the tax returns, can we write things off? Can we not write things off? What is eligible? What's not eligible? How do we, what accounts do we pull them from? This is where the financial planner, if you have one, should be paying attention to these questions, as well as ding, 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 ding. Remember this. Do you have a power of attorney for healthcare matters, as well as the other legal documents that will make sure that the healthcare directive is really clear? So this is very important. Pay attention to this. And William, if you've got a question, or Sarah, 609-488-4646. You need these questions. That's a great question, Sarah.
Again, that is 609-488-4646. And we have another question in here. This is from Forked River. This is Eric and Denise. They say, if we are not sure we're getting the right guidance to help protect our income from potential risks, and they list those risks as market risk, healthcare costs, taxes, inflation, what should we do? So they don't know if they're getting the right guidance about these risks. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad you called in, Eric and Denise. Number one, I'm glad you called in because you see a challenge, and it's a shame that if you're a do-it-yourselfer, and there's many people out that do it themselves because you're afraid you're going to get taken advantage of. I think the first thing is, if you'd like to visit our office, no cost, no obligation, please give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. This is not a plug to get your business. This is a plug to say, how can I help you? Because this is a very great question. And so number one, how are your investments tiered up to reduce taxes, which is your tax return and your investments? Number two, how are they designated as beneficiaries in case you go to heaven and one of you is left behind, or passing it on to the kids? Number three, the healthcare costs. It could be extremely expensive. It could evaporate your estate quickly. And so, depending on how much you have, that is. So are we self-insured or not self-insured? Should we look at other types of investment vehicles out there that could double or triple the long-term care costs? There's some really good tools in the tool shed that you can pull out in case your lights start to go dim, you go into a facility. And again, like I said, for our veterans, it could be a great planning stage now. Should I set up an irrevocable trust? Am I a veteran during certain periods of war? And this is what we specialize in at our firm, in addition to the finances. So that's a really important thing because, again, your money can evaporate very, very quickly as you're protecting it for your income. And, of course, how you invest your money is everything.
I love it. Great question, Eric and Denise. Thank you so much. All right, another question here. And I want to remind folks, if you have questions, that number, 609-488-4646. This comes from Harry in Southampton.
A backyard.
Yeah, Harry asks, how much would you recommend I might set aside every year for retirement if I'm planning to retire in 10 years?
Wow, that's a great question. Number one, I'm glad you're thinking about it now and 10 years away. That's not normal. I mean, people think about it, but they put it on the shelf and they forget about things. Right. It's a great idea, and maybe a number should be put down. Number one, what do you have now? How much do you have now? Number two, how much can you put away? And where does it go? Into an IRA, to a Roth IRA, to a non-qualified account? And number three, on top of that, you kind of want to think about, okay, what is my lifestyle going to be based on today's income? How much do you need on a monthly basis? And you might say, well, Scotty, I only need $5,000 a month. Well, then if you're a farmer, you probably need more than that, but out in my area. But the thought is, what do I need now? And now we can run it for inflation. We can do an assumption. But again, this is assumption to get you a kind of a number to figure out what should I put away. You may not be able to put away enough now. Maybe you'll play catch up. I don't know your circumstance. I don't know if you have to take care of kids, no kids, you've got a bunch of animals. But the question is going to be, let's get a number. Lastly, I would encourage you to keep your eye on your Social Security statements, mysocialsecurity.gov or socialsecurity.gov, and pull up your statements. For everybody listening, go there. Make sure that when you pull up your statements, it's online, you see how much your Social Security is going to give you. And if you continue to work the next 10 years, making the assumption that you're making now, this could also offset how much you save. So, and then the last thought is this, and I don't mean to be unkind to anyone what I'm about to say, but is there a possibility you're going to receive an inheritance? I'm not trying to tell you to go knock off mom and dad. That's not what I'm saying. Make it real clear. I'm just saying, is there a possibility of inheritance? And maybe we can add that in or not add that in as I call it an inflation disclaimer. Again, I'm not trying to be unkind, but this could be a benefit to some people. And if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to talk about it, but this could be an added blessing in the future. So those are the areas. To give you a finite rule, we'd have to sit down, have a little meeting, drill down on some numbers. And the best place to do that, the best place to go is 609-488-4646. Let me say it again, because it's our website, 609-488-4646. We've got a lot of juicy materials on there. Go to our website. We've got a lot of white pages. We're adding more and more all the time. 609-488-4646.com. Alex?
Yeah, and thank you, Harry, for sending that in, as we have one more question here going through the Financial Insanity mailbag. This question is from Linda, and Linda is in Beach Haven West. All right, Linda, the question here, can you talk more about what goes into a written financial strategy? I keep hearing about the importance of having a written financial strategy, and I would like something like a checklist to help make sure I have everything covered. We know people love checklists. What do you think about that, Scott? Is this something you could help a person with?
I think so. You know, Linda, I was just mentioning to Harry in Southampton, and we've got a lot of stuff on our website. We actually have on our website a booklet you can download, or you can pop in our office. We can print it out for you. But it's a great booklet. You can read online on how to prepare for retirement and how much money, and then the strategies of retirement. Great material to start with if you wish to go there. or maybe you want to pop in and we can have a quick discussion on the phone or in person. But when it goes into a written game plan, a written strategy, number one, how much do you need? As we were talking to Harry about. Number two, when's the taxation today, or when you're about to retire? Today could be different than tomorrow. We have to pay attention to what the government's doing. And finally, we look at all the areas. What have you saved? What do you have? Where's it going? As we said to Harry has a great question leading right into you, buddy. I can tell you, as well as Eric and Denise from Forked River, bringing up inflation. And again, William and Sarah, it seems like all the questions you're bringing up, and William and Sarah brought up in Tuckerton, this is a local area. But I can tell you, a written game plan can change. Today's plan may change to tomorrow's plan. Today you're feeling healthy and everything's good. They give you a written plan. It could change because you could be sick and disabled tomorrow. So again, it's good to have a game plan. It's good to have it in writing. It's good, Linda. I don't know if you're married or single, or maybe you have a significant other, a partner in your life, but maybe when people visit with us, we'd like to have both people together, or maybe your children. If you have children, come into the office. Let's put a game plan together and talk about a strategy that can go into paper, written format. But again, because there's so many questions, because your questions on everybody, whether you're in Beach Haven, Southampton, Forked River, Tuckerton, the Moon, like where Alex is from,
Yep.
You kind of want to make sure your questions are all lining into the very simple as our 3D process called the dreams, your dollars, and your dynasty. It all fits together. So thanks for those questions, guys, right here in Ocean County. I appreciate you. And Burlington County, Southampton, Harry.
Yeah, and that's one of your great values, Scott, is just be able to look at everything, and everybody's different, but able to look at that and say, okay, what is the right approach? And so it's a kind of thing we want folks, just don't be scared. You just got to start.
Knowledge is everything until you apply it. If it's not applied, knowledge is nothing. You have to apply the tools and the concepts. And I see this so often. There's a lot of brainiacs out there that can't walk and chew gum. So you want to take this information for those do-it-yourselfers. How do you take this information and then plug it in? If you have those questions for the do-it-yourselfers, give our studios a call. We have a quick phone call, whether it's myself or George, and guide you through it. Number two, if you're figuring this out for yourself, sometimes you might want to lean on the shoulders of people who have been through it. I've been through my sister dying just a few months ago. I've been through pets dying just a few weeks ago. I've been through clients passing away or their lights going dim. I've been through veterans and our veterans clients. And by the way, when I say our whole office, because we want to love on our clients and guide them through it. If you've got these issues, we've been through it. And if we have answers, and if we don't have answers, being in this area since 1979, I've been in Ocean County since 1979. I can promise you, I know the people to call. I can find out answers. But when you just take this knowledge and do nothing with it, that's ignorance, lack of knowledge, stupidity, doing nothing. Take action. I can promise you, whether it's with our firm or any other firm, please take action. If your advisor is not looking at the tax returns as well as the legal documents, you're on your own, leading you to a mousetrap, as my book said. And by the way, you come and visit with us, we'll be happy to give you our book so you can follow the concepts and the process that we follow with all of our clients and potential clients and people who just meet with us. I can tell you, this could be a great place for you as a safe haven of what do I do next.
I love it. Good stuff, Scott. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. That number for a final time, if you have questions, 609-488-4646. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us for Financial Insanity.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.